YouTubers, family and friends, welcome to my channel. A foreigner escapes to the Philippines, and we're back at the North 5 hectare property in northwestern Mindanao, Philippines. And I just want to thank all of you for all of your great concern and heartfelt sorrow for me as far as my goats being murdered, killed, whatever you want to call it, here on my property a couple days ago. It's been tough because it was one of my biggest joys coming out here in this Philippines wilderness, where I had them for about almost 3 months. I had them out here, and it was a mother and 2 babies. And this is the jungle property that I've been clearing. And it used to be thick jungle, and over the past 3 or 4 months, actually it's close to 6 months that I've been clearing here. And I had the goats and the one cow I have over near the house 2 miles away from here. So that's kind of my dilemma as I am cutting and clearing here. See how fast the growth and the grass and the weeds comes up again. Well, the goats and the cow are perfect for keeping those down, because they love to just eat all that stuff up, right? So that's what I was doing out here. And we've had this property for approximately almost 5 years now. And that hut right up there was where the goats lived every day, and every time it rained, they'd run over there to the shelter, and they would sleep there every night. So they had wonderful accommodations as far as keeping them out of the rain and out of the weather, and safe at night together. They slept together there. So, as far as that went, I thought it was great. As long as they huddled up together in their shelter, they'd be fine for the night. And like I say, as far as I knew, there wasn't very many predators known in this area. And the predators that were known wouldn't attack and kill things as big as goats. Well, I was obviously wrong. So I probably won't be getting goats again for this property. If I do, I'll keep them right at the house, or bring them here just if I'm here, always with them, until I get dogs here. And a lot of the viewers in the comments, I thank you guys so much for your comments. Have been a big help. Some of the stuff that you guys come up with, I didn't even think of. Like my dad thought of poison. Someone might have poisoned them. And then another couple guys said lightning. Maybe it was lightning that had killed them. And at this point, there's just, because of so much rain, it finally cleared up here this afternoon. I say cleared up, it's overcast, but the rain has stopped, at least for a few hours. But most of the evidence was washed away with all the heavy rain that we got that night. And so I left here probably 11 a.m. in the morning that day, on last Saturday. So it happened anytime afternoon or evening. But the way the bloating had already started on the goats by the time I got here at 8 a.m. the next morning, I would think that it would have been in the afternoon that the deaths occurred, and that's just my guess. It is very hot and humid here all the time, even with all the rain. So I'm sure things, start to bloat faster here in the jungle than what I'm used to in the cooler weather in Nevada and Minnesota, where I grew up. So I got some clues here, some evidence that I didn't reveal before, that I just yesterday kind of noticed and came up with, that evidence that was left over. And it's kind of not real huge evidence, but it's something to consider as far as finding out who the murderers were, or what the murderers were. Being in the Philippines, of course, guys, and you probably all know that superstition is very, very big, especially here in the province. You know, you have witch doctors and you have all kinds of the occult and stuff going on. And that's always in the back of my mind being slightly considered, but for the most part, that I haven't seen any real indications of that stuff uh, being perpetrated upon animals and humans as far as evil things of injury or killing people. Uh, yes, there's kidnappings and assassinations that happen in the Philippines, just like everywhere in the world. This kind of stuff happens. But the reason why it's so shocking for the Philippines is statistically, the Philippines is one of the lowest countries for murder in the entire world. Like the United States is in the thousands that are murdered every year. And in the Philippines, it's always in like the low teens, or less. It's very, very small amount, guys. So as far as being a dangerous country, I would say Philippines is not a dangerous country. As far as the customs and the culture, yes, you don't want to make the native Filipino people here what's called lose face. You don't want to embarrass them or disrespect them, and why would you want to do that anywhere in the world, right? But here, if you do that kind of stuff, it's a cultural embarrassment that is very, very hard for some of the people here to handle. And if they don't have a loving spirit about them, they could hire an assassin and take you out, because that happens here in the Philippines. If you disrespect or treat a Filipino badly and they have enough money to hire an assassin, which we're talking like $300 guys, you can hire an assassin in the Philippines. That's some of the cases that happened in the past of how much it cost for some people to hire an assassin, right? And then also in the rage or the heat of the moment arguments, a lot of times there's killings, but a lot of times that involves drugs or alcohol. And the drug culture here, I mean, ever since Duterte was president a few years back, the drugs have gone way down. So that's really not much of a problem here in the Philippines as much as it used to be. So I would say, but alcohol is still a big one. But getting back to the goats, guys, here at my property, here's, as you can see, I got this zip line here, and I sometimes put the cow on that, and sometimes I had the mother goat on that too. But toward the last couple months, I just let her run free, because she always knew this area so well, and she'd always go up to her house there and be protected if it rained or at nighttime. So as you can see, my cow Rosie, she's having fun here, and she's on a rope, guys. And that's in the Philippines, that's the way it is. Majority of the livestock in the Philippines, unless they're like pigs, yes, are in pens or in enclosures or in fenced, what they called piggeries. And I could show you a piggery that's just maybe 200 yards from here. But this is the way it is in the Philippines. With the livestock, most of them are on ropes. That includes goats. And some of the livestock, they run the, hi Rosie. And I called her Rosie because that was the name of my dog that passed away last July. Rosie, my dog, was half German Shepherd and half Pit Bull. She was the best guard dog I ever had in my life. She protected this family and myself unbelievably. She killed 9 or 8 dogs and who knows how many other cats and stuff that came encroached upon our property. I didn't want her to kill those things, but she was very, very territorial, especially for a female. They're more territorial than the males are for dogs. And but she was great around the children. She wouldn't, she never bit anyone or was it a bad dog at all. She was unbelievably loyal. So anyways, back to the animals. As you can see, some of the ropes they put through cattle through the nose, and I think that's a little bit inhumane, and maybe it doesn't hurt them. I don't really know. Hi, Rosie. Hi. She loves to be petted too. Yeah, you're a good girl. And she's pregnant right now, so she should give calf, I'm hoping around May or June. So I got to really watch her close, because we just had a neighbor that had a heifer pregnant that had her child, had the baby calf, and couldn't get it to come out, and both the calf and the cow died. So you really got to watch them when it's birthing time. A lot of you guys already know that. So so fences, there's just rarely any kind of fencing because it's so expensive and the people here are so poor. It's hard to get fencing because it's so expensive, guys. So I plan on getting fencing, and that's why I'm clearing here. I plan on putting a 4 barbed wire and maybe even 1 strand of electric on it. And as you can see right now, I only have a single strand fence that goes all the way around the property. So well, here's the evidence I'm going to show you guys that I came up with. So picture this, it's either afternoon or evening last Saturday, and these are the 3 positions that I found the goats in dead when I arrived here the following morning. So I put a stake, the black, all black, and both the children were females. So the all black female was laying here on the highest ground, and the other female baby with the white stripe was here where this stake is. So I paced it off distance wise because it looked like they were equal distances from each other. So I paced it off from this stake to this stake 13 paces, or 13 normal steps, which is like a yard per step, like 3 feet per step. So 13 paces, and then this stake right here is where the mama was, down toward the river, right? She had the river which she would not cross ever, so she was trapped there. So that's where she had died. And that's 13 paces from her to this all black baby. And then if you go from where the mama was 13 paces this way to the other one that was down by the river, that's also 13 paces in an exact triangle, which I thought was very strange, that it's almost exact equal distance apart from each other, how they were found in a triangle. So then I'm thinking, well, what if it was a warning sign of some witch doctors or some kind of cult trying to scare me to stay out of this area or whatever, right? And so I'm thinking about that. Maybe that's a possibility. And then if you go in the very center of the triangle between the stakes, you get this stake, which is in a kind of a triangle from the roots of this tree, forms a triangle. So I know a lot of cults, and like I used to watch this movie Supernatural. It was like a 10-season sitcom called Supernatural. It was really good, and it showed you biblically and about cults and demons and all that kind of stuff. So I learned a lot about that. Plus I have quite a few texts, Bloodlines of the Illuminati is another one I have that I've read because I'm aware of what's going on the planet as far as how they're fighting against the children of God and the words of God, which is the Spirit of God, the holy text, the Bible. So there's a constant spiritual battle going on, guys. And you always got to realize that, what's going on in the world. So what I'm going to do is a lot of times I'll put like what's called a hex bag in the center of a triangle or center of a five-sided star, which is their pentagram evil thing, right? So if that's possible, I'm going to dig in this area over the next day or two in the very center of the triangle where the 3 dead goats were. And I know that's kind of out there, and it really is out there, and I don't put much bank on that scenario if that's why they were equal distance apart. But let's just say, because there's lots of anaconda. My brother-in-law 3 years ago killed 2 anaconda. One was a 6-footer, one was 8-footer. So they're big anaconda here in Philippines, especially this area. As far as cobra, because a lot of people guessed cobra, I've never seen one in this particular area, and the neighbors have never reported one, but lots of anacondas. So maybe an anaconda, a big one, because with all the rain and stuff, the snakes just thrive in this when it's all so much water. Maybe it was coming up the stream here and smelled the goats. Maybe they were taking a siesta toward the end of the day. Maybe the rain broke for an hour or two. A lot of times it'll happen like right now in the late afternoon. And maybe they were laying here where my chair is, underneath my little tiny rain shelter here. I'll come under here if I'm working, if it rains real hard, right, for a short period. And maybe they were here and the anaconda jumped them, and they all spread out in little ways away from each other. And then because goats, for some reason, it's been reported too by a few of the viewers, and I kind of knew this before, but I didn't think it was so bad, but I guess it really is with goats. They'll freeze of fear and fright and shock. They'll go into shock and just stand there frozen and won't move a muscle, because they'll be in like a paralysis of fear. And maybe that's what happened with the goats here, and that's why one was killed, then whatever killed them just went to the next one and killed it, and it went to the next one and killed it. That's just a guess, of course, guys, and there's so much guessing going on. But I did pull out, I got 2 of these trail cams that I had in the US. So they're kind of old, but I fired the other one up that's in my shop and it works. So I don't know if I need some more batteries for this one, but the other one for surely works. And all I'm short though is an SD card. I need an SD card for these. So I just ordered some SD cards, and I'm way out in the jungle, so it's so hard to get. So maybe within a week I can get some SD cards and get these things up and running. So see, these strap right to a tree or a bush or anything like this, facing in the area you want to monitor. So the river, of course, is the biggest point of interest for monitoring for wildlife. They always want to come down to the river, right? So I'm going to be putting both of those so it gets a good view of the river area, and we'll see what happens from there. Hopefully I can get some good footage recording of some kind of wildlife. And I did mention one other thing as far as the evidence goes, and I really didn't put much stock in it when I walked up on the goats the day that I found them, is that the goat that was up here on the highest ground at this stake is one of the babies. The ears, one of the ears and the butthole was ate out, and when the butthole was ate out, some of the intestine pulled out of the goat from the behind. And also the goat that was over here at this stake down by the river, which was also the other baby, both of the ears were partially eaten on it. So my dad lives in Minnesota, he said that that's what predators will do, is go for the butthole and the ears and the tender, real tender, juicy parts of the meat right away. So I didn't know that. I just thought maybe during the night some rats came out and started nibbling on them, which could have been the case too, but see, I don't know as far as the timing goes on that, guys. So anyways, moral of the story is, when you think you're all safe and sound and you think you got a fairly good handle, because I would come here every single day religiously, guys, no matter what the rain was doing or whatever. Every morning or afternoon, mostly in the morning, I'd come here to check on my animals, and I would move Rosie around with her rope, right, to get her more grass pasture. Do that once a day. And plus I bring food here. I brought oats and a seed mixture, and some real good alfalfa in pellets that the cow loves, and I would bring a couple kilos of that for her every day, and I still do. But anyways, so when you think you got her all figured out, you usually don't. So that's kind of the moral of the story here, is never be too confident on whatever defenses that you have up for yourself or your animals, that something can't get through it. So if you fall back on your defenses, first line of defense is personal protection, right? So if you can, always have machete on you, or if you're with your wife in the Philippines, you can do a concealed carry if you guys have weapons or whatever it is. Even spears. I got a lot of these poles around here. You can use as spears. Anything, just set them in different strategical areas. So if you walk up on a snake or something, you can grab something right away. It's best to have, that machete on you, I think. But like I say, I so appreciate everyone's subscriptions and comments. It's tough to go through. Probably it took me 8 hours to go through all the almost 500 comments, but I love it. It was great to be able to converse with you guys, and you guys were so kind for my loss of my animals. I sure do appreciate it, and I really thank you so much for that. So anyways, that's it for this update. When I get those trail cams online and get some footage, I'll give you guys some another video as far as any evidence, or if I get any pictures of any snakes or big lizards, because there's big lizards here too, guys. That's a possibility too. But at this point, I just kind of at a loss, and the more I think it's dogs, wild dogs, the more I think, yeah, that's probably it. The more I think then, well, maybe not. Because there's no tearing and ripping like dogs usually do. Even smaller dogs, they'll rip and tear, right, when they go for the jugular. But it all depends. I've seen a couple dogs that my dog Rosie, before she passed, killed, and she just grabbed it by the neck and had it so tight, and she just shook her head, and no ripping involved with at all, and the neck just snapped, and the dog was dead right away, and with no tearing of the skin, just puncture marks. So I know dogs can do that. So anyways, take care, guys. I so appreciate all your prayers and thoughts and condolences, and God be with you always. My prayers are with everyone. In our name, Jesus, we pray. Amen.